everyone. Welcome back to the Kirkpatrick podcast. It is Vanessa, and just so excited to be here talking about this today. We've got a lot of goodness that we've been chatting about, a lot about leadership capability, leadership alignment, and expectations. And I want to ask you this, or have you think about this. What if the reason your evaluation efforts aren't working isn't because of the model or your model? It's not because of your data or even your people. What if the problem is with your system? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. You can have alignment amongst leaders. You can have a solid evaluation framework, the Kirkpatrick model maybe, and you can even have the right metrics and still fail. Not because people don't care, but because your systems aren't designed to support what you say matters. So today we're shifting the conversation from leadership alignment to system alignment. In many organizations, alignment is treated like a mindset issue. We say things like, leaders need to value evaluation, managers need to reinforce behavior, employees need to apply what they learned. And yeah, there's a mindset issue for sure. But the problem is you can't expect consistent behavior from people operating inside inconsistent systems. If your systems reward activity over outcomes, if they track completion instead of performance, if they ignore behavior change entirely, that evaluation isn't going to fail because people aren't aligned. It fails because the system is. Let's take a real world example here, something that I think many of us can relate to. Health and wellness. I know what I have to do. I know I need to take my vitamins consistently. I know I need to be putting the collagen powder in my drinks. I know, Chaz, I need more collagen. I know I need to be getting to, the gym every day. I need to be eating healthier. But if I don't put my vitamins where I can see them and they're in my face and I make it a habit to take them at the same time every single day, if it doesn't become part of my routine, if I don't make it an absolute priority and a point to get to the gym when it works for me, if I don't go and make sure that on Sundays we go to the supermarket and we buy our groceries for the week so that I can meal prep to have healthy options in the house, it's not that I'm not aligned to wanting to be healthier. It's that my system isn't working. I'm being inconsistent. The system is what keeps us going. It's the predictability. It's the automatic habit formation that we have. So now, not in all of it, like my vitamin game is horrible. I'm inconsistent there. But my workout game is strong because I had to find, so I love ClassPass. And I love classes. Like that's my thing. I don't want to think about what I have to do. I want to have it scripted for me. I want to have the motivation of the people around me. I want to provide motivation for them. I also think that, my form is better because I don't want someone to look at me and be like, check that knee. Is it over the ankle? I love a class. So I needed to find places in my area because I knew the only way I could go to the gym if I was there at 6 a.m. So I need to find the places that had 6 a.m. classes so that it fit within my schedule and I could keep it consistent. And now I can go to the gym sometimes 6 days a week because it becomes habit, because I actually miss it when I don't go. Like I didn't go this morning, so I was super tired and I'm almost regretting it. And then I try to go in the afternoons and that's just not my thing. But it becomes part of your day. That's the same thing when it comes to evaluation. We think that if we put more people through the Kirkpatrick certification, it's just going to magically happen. No. Or yes, and I should say. Yes, and. Yeah, you want the people to build the capability of how to do this, but you also have to build the systems and the processes and the procedures. That whole part is missing. And because that person went through the certification program does not mean that they are going to be able to build the systems and the processes. And it also means that they probably don't have the time because you have a ton of programs to evaluate. And evaluation, when you don't have an automated system and a strategic system, takes a lot of effort to do. So trying to do that plus build systems in complex organizations, it's a lot. So let's bring in some of the systems thinking. When we talk about a system, we're not just talking about your learning management system or your reporting dashboard. It's the full environment that shapes behavior. It's the processes, the tools, the incentives, the reporting structures, the decision-making rhythms. And here's the key principle in all of this. Systems are perfectly designed to get the results they produce. So if your evaluation data doesn't influence decisions, isn't being used by managers, stops at level 1 or 2, it's not an execution problem, it's a system design problem, and your system is perfectly designed to only give you level 1 and 2 data, not to be used by managers and not to influence decisions. Evaluation is not something you do at the end. It's something that the system either enables or blocks. Let's get a little practical here. You know, your girl is very practical. Here are the most common system failures. First, disconnected processes. Evaluation only lives in learning and development. Performance lives somewhere else. Business metrics lives everywhere. And there's no integration, so there's no impact. And you're asking the L&D function, who primarily has only been viewed as a training function, to lift the entire organization to drive performance. And the system isn't built for that. The system is built for them just to worry about training. Another system failure we see all the time is misaligned measures. You say behavior and results matter, but your systems measure attendance, completion, satisfaction. So what do you think that it's optimized for? Exactly. The third is no feedback loops. Evaluation data gets collected, but it doesn't inform redesign, influence strategy, reach decision makers. And the people that provided you with that feedback, they're never told whatever happened with it, with something that's quite important to them, their opinion, their time. That's value. So without feedback loops, evaluation becomes a report, not a driver. Another challenge is undefined ownership. Who owns behavior change truly? Think about that. In your organization, who owns that? Is it L&D? Is it the managers? Is it the business? If the system doesn't define ownership, or hint, 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 co-ownership, nothing happens. And this is where governance comes in, and where most organizations will fall short. Governance isn't bureaucracy. It's clarity. It answers who owns what gets measured, when decisions are made, and how data is used. Without governance, evaluation is optional, processes are inconsistent, and results are unpredictable. But with governance, evaluation becomes part of how the organization operates. At the core, our Center of Excellence offering is not just about expertise, but helping you build structure. A Center of Excellence ensures standardized evaluation approaches, clear expectations across teams, integrated systems and processes, consistent use of data for decisions. In other words, alignment moves from being a conversation, but to being a system maintained through governance. I like to think about it as, all of us, people, humans in general, how we naturally are when we interact with others. We always like to see where the boundary lies, right? We always like to have that predictability and that consistency. And those things only happen through governance. Now, doesn't mean that our whole life is like a bunch of policies and procedures, but kind of our whole life is a bunch of policies and procedures, whether or not they're written or implied. It's how we know how to operate and how we know how to show up so we can have that consistent behavior. If you want evaluation to work, you have to stop treating it like an isolated activity and start treating it like an organizational capability. And that shift requires designing systems that reinforce behavior change, embedding evaluation into workflows, not adding it on top, and creating governance that sustains alignment over time. That way, when your Kirkpatrick certified person leaves, the system keeps running. You can bring in the next person, build up their particular skills in evaluation, the things that they need to know. How do you build an evaluation plan? How do you define, success? How do you work with stakeholders? How do you build business partnerships? They can worry about that, but the system is also still running. If you remember our love at KP, and just mine personally, of the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. Remember, people don't rise to the level of their goal, right? Their expectations. They respond. They rise to the level of the system. They respond to systems. We have to stop thinking that everyone will just go to get to that vision, that North Star. No, they need the system in order to get there. That vision, that goal, that's what keeps them hungry and going and moving forward. That's the vacation. But the only way they're going to get there is because they have that predictable system in order to get to that. So if your evaluation efforts aren't delivering, stop asking, are we measuring the right things? Do our people have enough skills in order to do measurement? Are we sure we know Kirkpatrick? Start by asking, is our system designed to support what we say matters? And again, the system is your processes, your tools, your leaders, your people, the governance. Because without system alignment, evaluation will always truly struggle. But with it, evaluation isn't just something that you measure, something that you do. It's something that drives real performance and is automatic. And if this episode resonated with you, it is time to go deeper. Our upcoming work and our book on the culture of evaluation explores how designing learning and evaluation as part of a fully aligned performance system is how this scales. It is how organizations innovate. It's how they perform. It's how they grow. So if you're building or you want to build a center of excellence of the future, start with governance, because that's where alignment becomes real. And if you want to know exactly where you are in our pillars and where your organization is in maturity, you can take our Learning Impact Maturity Assessment. The link is in the show notes and in the description of the YouTube video. And it will give you a score in different components that all will show your level of maturity. Things like governance, measurement and evaluation, your people, leadership alignment, performance thinking, designing for behavior change, all of these different things. It will show you where you're doing well and where you can use some improvement. It'll give you recommendations of what to do next. And then, of course, anyone takes the Learning Impact Maturity Assessment is welcome to have a 30-minute call with us to work on their first 90 days. Friends, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next episode. Bye.